Mary Lennox had never known a place that felt like home. She had been born in India, in a large house where servants moved quietly through long corridors, always attentive, always distant. Her parents were rarely present, and when they were, they seemed like shadows. Too busy, too important, too far away to notice a small girl with watchful eyes and a silent heart. Mary grew up surrounded by heat and bright sunlight, by voices she did not understand, by rooms that echoed when she walked through them alone. She learned early how to amuse herself, not with laughter or play, but with stillness. She watched, she listened, she waited. Then, one morning, everything changed. Illness swept through the house without warning. The servants whispered behind closed doors. Footsteps hurried where they once drifted. Doors that had always been open were suddenly shut. Mary stayed in her room, unaware of the seriousness of what was happening, until one day no one came to check on her at all. The house grew quiet. Too quiet. Eventually she was discovered, small, thin, and pale, sitting alone with nothing to do and no one to speak to. Not long after, it was decided that she would be sent away, far away, to England, to live with an uncle she had never met. And so, Mary left the only world she had ever known. The journey was long and slow, filled with unfamiliar sights and endless stretches of gray sea. Mary spent much of the time wrapped in blankets, watching the waves rise and fall, as if the ocean itself were breathing. The sound of it became soothing, almost hypnotic, and for the first time, she slept deeply. When she finally arrived in England, the air felt different, cooler, heavier. It carried a dampness she had never known before. The sky was often clouded, and the light seemed softer, quieter, as if it did not wish to disturb anyone. Mary was taken to a place called Misselthwaite Manor. The carriage ride there was long, passing through winding roads and wide open stretches of land. On either side, low hills rolled gently into the distance, covered in rough grass and wild plants. There were no tall buildings, no bustling streets, only silence, broken now and then by the sound of the wind. "This is the moor," the driver said, noticing Mary's curious gaze. The word lingered in her mind. Moor. It sounded old, ancient, like something that had always been there and always would be. At last the carriage slowed and turned through a great iron gate. Beyond it stood Misselthwaite Manor, vast and dark, its many windows watching quietly as Mary approached. Ivy climbed along its stone walls, and the building itself seemed to breathe with age and memory. Mary felt very small as she stepped inside. The halls were long and dim, with thick carpets that softened every footstep. Portraits lined the walls, faces from long ago, eyes following her as she passed. The air smelled faintly of wood, dust, and something else. Something like earth after rain. Mrs. Medlock, the housekeeper, led Mary through a maze of corridors. "Your uncle is not one for visitors," she said firmly. "He keeps to himself, and you must learn to do the same." Mary nodded, though she did not entirely understand. She was shown to a bedroom high up in the house. It was large, with heavy furniture and tall windows that looked out over the moor. A fire burned quietly in the fireplace, casting a gentle glow across the room. For the first time in a long while, Mary felt tired in a way that went deeper than sleep. That night, as she lay in bed, she listened. The wind moved around the house, whispering through cracks and corners. Somewhere far away, a door closed softly. The manor seemed alive, not loudly, but patiently, as if it were waiting. Mary drifted in and out of sleep, wrapped in blankets, her thoughts slowing, her breathing evening out. The days that followed were much the same. Mary explored what little she was allowed to see. Quiet rooms, empty hallways, windows that looked out on endless gray-green land. She was not used to such freedom, yet she did not quite know what to do with it. She walked slowly, often stopping just to listen. One morning, she met a girl named Martha. Martha spoke differently than anyone Mary had ever heard. Her voice was warm and lively, full of rhythm and comfort. She talked as she worked, filling the silence with stories of her family, of the moor, of her mother and brothers and sisters. Mary listened, fascinated. "You ought to be outside more," Martha said cheerfully. "Fresh air does a body good." So, Mary went outside. The garden was wide and open, though much of it seemed forgotten. Paths were overgrown, flower beds untended. Yet even in its stillness, there was a quiet beauty to it. Birds fluttered from branch to branch. Leaves rustled softly in the breeze. Mary walked slowly, her footsteps light on the damp earth. As she wandered, she noticed something strange. A wall. It was covered in ivy, thick and tangled, stretching farther than she could see. There were no openings, no gates, just stone and climbing leaves, as if whatever lay beyond it had been carefully hidden away. Mary felt a small spark of curiosity flicker inside her. "What's behind that wall?" she wondered. The question followed her as she continued walking, lingering in her thoughts long after she returned indoors. That night, as she lay in bed, Mary dreamed. She dreamed of green places and hidden paths, of doors long forgotten and keys waiting patiently to be found. She dreamed of silence that was not lonely, but peaceful. When she woke, the dream stayed with her. Something in misstatement manner was stirring, not loudly, not urgently, but gently, like a seed resting beneath the soil, waiting for the right moment to grow. And though Mary did not yet understand it, her life was slowly, quietly beginning to change.